Hi everyone, it's your girl 𝕚𝕤𝕤𝕒, and the topic of today is going to be a heavy one. It is dealing with generational curses, generational trauma, and breaking free from old ways of thinking. And basically, what you need to do to break free is to rewire your brain. I know that sounds intense because it is. It's definitely not a one and done type of thing. When it comes to the lower chakras, which is the root, the sacral, and the solar, which is basically your structure, they are developed during your formative years. Your formative years being from baby to toddler to child to preteen to teen to young adult. And if you had a rocky beginning or you dealt with a lot of bullying, whether at home, at school, just a really tumultuous environment, it can cause a lot of problems within your life, a lot of problems within your self-esteem, and a lot of problems within the psyche. I'm going to recommend two books. The first one being Gabor Mate, In the Realm of Hungry Ghosts, and the second one being a book by David Goggins. I forget the title, but like I said, I'll put both in the description. And Gabor Mate especially really breaks down, nobody's born an addict, that people that suffer from addictions struggle with low self-esteem, have, just act out in negative ways that never reach their full potential. It always starts in childhood. It always starts with trauma. It always starts with, just being told from a young age that you're not good enough, you're not this, you're not that. And that in order to fix that, you really need to rewire your brain, because believe it or not, trauma, it changes the brain chemistry. And you have to think, okay, so while my brain is developing during a time when I should be, loved, protected, if that was lacking during your upbringing, your brain is a little bit different and needs to be fixed. And I personally believe that it can be fixed. I'm not perfect, but there's a lot that I had to heal from. And I'm here to share what's worked for me and what I truly believe will work for you. But first you need to understand how this happens. And I'm going to use an example. I know this movie is really disturbing. It's very, very dark, but the way that it's portrayed in this movie, particularly generational trauma, how things are passed down, it was beautifully done. But like I said, it was really disturbing and probably one that I will never watch again. But the movie is called Precious. And in the movie, the scene that I still that sticks out the most to me is when she's going to school and she's trying to learn how to read, because I think she's in her teen years, but she reads way below that. And the teacher is like, just, try and read. Here's the words. Just read what you see. Don't worry about messing up. And, she's really warm and she's really sweet. But as she's saying this to her, she is hearing the voice of her abuser in her head saying, you're stupid, you're this, you're that, you're not good enough, you'll never amount to anything. And that is really what happens, as you get older, because that's ingrained in you. All that happened during the development of your childhood. And it's not impossible to break free from. I'm telling you that right now. And I hate to get this dark in a video, but it's important. And Spirit was pushing me to make this video because it's a lot more prevalent than, people want to admit. There's a lot of people walking around wounded. It does take work, but it's not impossible to heal from. So it really is about rewiring the brain and telling yourself that you are capable of the things that you always wanted to do. Because I guarantee there was a lot of things in your life that you may have said to somebody, whether it was a parent, a friend, or somebody that you could confide in, and they said, oh, that's never going to happen. You're wasting your time. Don't do that. No, you can't do that. Or even if it's as a joke, they're just like, oh, you can't do, and it sticks with you because we're sensitive. People are sensitive, especially when you're young and you're still figuring things out. Those things stick with you. And like I said, if you had a rocky beginning, you didn't really have a good home life, you were dealing with a lot of bullying, there's some things that you need to rewire within you, and you need to build that self-esteem within you. A good exercise for this is actually making a list of things that you once wanted for yourself and completely change because someone said you can't do that. You're not smart enough. You're not this, you're not that. Take your time with that exercise. Don't sit down and try and get it as fast as you can. Really take your time. Give yourself 24 hours to make a good list of times that this happened to you, and really connect the dots. Because I noticed that when I thought, I never did that exercise, but I've just done a lot of self-reflection, and I started to notice patterns within myself as well as people within my lineage and people that I attracted into my life and people that I was attracted to. Because believe it or not, oftentimes we are attracted to people that are similar to people that raised us, whether they were good or bad. And I also hate to say this, but growing up in certain environments, if you're brought up by, very narcissistic environment or just a not so healthy environment, you more than likely have some of those traits that need to be healed within you. But don't get mad at yourself. Don't get mad at the situation. This is all about healing, realizing things within yourself. I really don't want you to sit down and point the fingers at other people and say, they did this to me. He did this to me. Oh, she did this to me. Let's forget about that. This is 100% about you. Yes, you may get angry, you may get upset, but this is about you and you discovering things about yourself, parts of yourself that need to be healed, as well as accepting that, sometimes you were the villain in the story. And I know that it hurts, and I know that that part is really painful because nobody wants to be the bad person in any situation, unless you're like a sociopath or something, right? Nobody wants to admit that they were ever in the wrong or that they were the liar or the cheater in any situation. But sometimes you were. And, that was things that I needed to accept within myself that, I wasn't always innocent. I definitely did things that I regret, or I don't want to say regret because I don't regret anything, but just things that I am not proud of, things that I wish I dealt with differently. Okay. And it's not easy. It's not easy. You are shaped by, there are parts of you that, are you, but a lot of the time you were shaped by your environment. You were shaped by who you were surrounded by. You were shaped by situations that were completely out of your control. But this isn't about blaming. This is about self-discovery and learning that, okay, we're going to change these things and we're going to accept these parts of ourselves. We're going to change what needs to be changed. And we're going to start going for things that we were told we weren't good enough to do. Because had I always believed or went with being told that, not to get into spirituality, not to go the certain route that I went when it came to, working and things like that, I would not be where I am today. I would probably be miserable. I would probably still be struggling with things that I was struggling with from the past because, spirituality, taking a different path from the people who raised me or the people that I was surrounded by really taught me, my own capabilities and really led me down a different path that has changed me for the better, but I also want to give you some positivity when it comes to this, because I know some people look at their lives and they're like, I've been through so much. I hate that I've been through so much. And, it puts them back in that victim mentality. And I say this is, most people that I met who are very spiritual and very involved in the occult or whatever have oftentimes been through a lot. And that's their way of delving into themselves, finding answers, figuring out the universe, because the universe is tough. The universe doesn't play. The universe gives you what matches your energy, not what you want. So if you believe that you are not smart enough, and this is all subconscious, you don't even have to know that this part is aware, that you don't even have to be aware that this part exists. But the universe is going to give you what you believe, even if it's deep in your subconscious and you are unaware of it. So the universe does not play. So when you're walking around with trauma that is unhealed, that is undiscovered, you're just going to keep getting more of the same, attracting more of the same. That's why I push people to do shadow work. It's not the answer to everything. I know that. But self-discovery, realizing your own faults, recognizing your own shadow, there's a lot of power in that. And like I said, it's when I completely went off the path that was expected of me that things changed for the better. Okay. Use your common sense with this. Obviously don't because this is what I say, do opposite of what you were taught, but be smart with it. Don't be foolish. Don't harm yourself or harm other people. This has to do with your dreams, your aspirations, things that you may have wanted to do as a child that you were told you can't do because there's no money in that. There's no this, there's no that. I mean, it really is an intense, healing journey. It's not done overnight. I've been doing this stuff for a long time, and I still have parts of myself that I'm still healing too. So you really need to be patient with yourself. It's not always going to be easy. There's going to be some tears. There's going to be some anger, but there is a lot of power in this because, spoiler alert, in case you want to watch the movie, maybe fast forward this, but in the movie Precious, she sees at the beginning when she looks in the mirror, she sees herself as a different person. because she's under the impression that if she looks that way, if she has, this, if she has that, her life would be easier and people would treat her better. By the end of the movie, she looks at herself and she sees exactly who she is. She has her own beauty. She's not dumb. She's smart. She is able to bring her grade point up. She learns all these wonderful things. I can't remember. I think her mother never achieved a lot of what she did. So it's about rediscovering that beauty within you. You have wonderful things within you that are hidden, that are dormant because you were afraid to venture out. And this definitely happened to me when I went through the whole Kundalini activation. There was things within me that I was like, oh, there's so many things I wanted to express, whether it was artistically or, in videos on here, that I was afraid to express because of past programming. And this is, like I said, it takes time. But as time goes on and you rediscover yourself and you realize that, maybe the things that people tease you about are going to be your best characteristics, your best attributes, because, there was a light within you that they didn't see in themselves and it made them mad. So they had to dim your light. It really is a huge self-discovery, and it really is falling in love with yourself and realizing that, what? The people that did the worst things to you were hurting themselves. And not to excuse what they did, this is about you finding your own power and rediscovering who you really are. So I hope this video made sense, as I always say. But yeah, so that is it with this video. I love you guys so much. Take care.